I suppose when you're 30, you take a little bit longer to get the brakes on. The brake pads have worn a little thin.
Yes, and also it ties in somehow with the very contemplative nature that Edberg's approaching these two matches. It might, of course, have something to do with the wrist.
There's a classic Edberg point.
Yes, calling for the towel, I think. Slightly unusual volley this. It was played with a much shorter swing than usual, as if he'd made up his mind yesterday that he was going to play it cross court.
And you said, Fru, that the 7th game would be fairly vital. France doing fairly well in football at the moment, aren't they? 3 sides through to European semi-finals. What's going on? And this is the first deuce game of the match.
Boetsch looking up again, but it was out.
Ooh.
It's getting to him.
There's 2 doubles, and now the first break point. What a miss.
It all went beautifully according to plan, didn't it?
It did.
But he needed to smack it cross court, that volley.
What a miss.
Yes, I can see the piece of meat being lowered down off the hook in the butcher's shop.
I found the line. My word, that's a great get. Great shot from Boetsch. Not everybody agrees. Ah, too quick for the camera. Deuce for the 3rd time.
Yes, it's not over yet. I think Boetsch is just getting a little too tired of seeing Edberg coming in and deciding he'd try and play the Edberg way. He does quite a bit as a rule.
Third ace. Well, sounds like a good French contingent in the crowd. Allez, Arnaud.
Almost bound to happen, wasn't it? Wasn't as if it was a particularly brave shot either. Just steered it. Yes, go in. He couldn't quite find the opportunity. He sort of made one little movement forward, but felt that he didn't really have the short enough ball from Boetsch to approach behind.
the perfect time to go in that time.
It's quite an interesting exercise to try and play the Edberg game for him, to try and decide yourself when, if you were Edberg, when you would be going in. And you can see every now and again he makes just a little advance forward and then changes his mind.
Sometimes you stick out one of those long arms and the ball goes back and you win a point which you don't expect to.
Yes, you hang it out to dry and pray. And boetsch has had his problems with his backhand, getting under it and digging the ball. When he's playing it down the line, he's had more success cross-court on that backhand side.
Second chance for Edberg to get the break. So that horrible miss on the volley won't come back to haunt Edberg, because he's moved in front by 4 games to 3 in the opening set.
Sport and Diodora.
Very few, didn't he, against Pereira yesterday? So he is playing within himself. And now he's break up, serving with the new balls. Arno, steady on, old fella.
Well, I guess when you've lost to a man as often as he has, this just ain't fair. After all, I'm not a bad player. I've noticed how much Edberg perspires these days. It's not something that I seem to remember him doing throughout his career. He's almost in Medvedev's league.
Yes, poor Andre, who's incidentally involved in one of the stadium court matches later today against Goran Ivanisevic. Andre sort of is bathed in sweat at the end of the warm-up.
boetsch, I think, has no need for the strings because he maintains he's hitting everything on the frame anyway. It's infectious.
There's 2 doubles each. The 2 Edberg double faults have been by a long distance.
I think it was Donald Bradman who said, if you're going to get stumped, you may as well get stumped by a mile. Go for it.
Edberg really has lost his first serve. He's hardly getting any in at all in these last 2 service games. So really he's giving boetsch a chance to get back into it. And boetsch is failing miserably to take advantage.
Yes, I didn't look to see what boetsch was doing at the last change of ends. He may have crept over and may have stolen Edberg's first serve. But he certainly lost his backhand in the process. Goodness gracious me. I think he's nigh breaking point, boetsch. And it's not only his serve that's being broken, I think it's his morale generally.
Yes, can't hit a backhand to save his life. Edberg can't get a first serve in to save his, but doesn't need to, so it would seem. How many first serves he got in the last 2 service games? 1, I think, but you're a great recorder of these things.
2, yes.
Oh, I was being unkind.
Well, it's not going to take much more from Edberg for Boetsch to throw in the towel for this first set. And Edberg's looking to smother him like as if with a blanket.
Well, we've seen some incredible backhands from Spady earlier tonight, from Agassi in the last couple of days, but take this one.
Yes, it's almost as if he pulled out the six-gun and shot him. Wonderful shot.
Oh, dear. Well, poor Boetsch going from bad to worse. The amazing thing about that shot, normally Edberg's backhand is so graceful, and that actually looked horrible, but it worked wonderfully. Lunged at the ball, threw everything at it. 2 set points. Games in a row for Edberg. Little clench of the fist. I gotcha. And Boetsch is going to have to do something pretty quick in the second set if it's not going to become 11-0 to Edberg.
Back to the Lipton Championships live with Expo 2000.
Welcome back. The first set statistics. Well, yes, look at Edberg. 38% of first serves in, but he hasn't lost his serve. He's broken his opponents twice. Only 6 unforced errors. But poor old Boetsch, well, I think they must be being generous on 8 unforced errors. I thought he made 8 unforced errors in the last 2 games. Incidentally, we saw young Vincent Spady have that super win. Another young American's had a super win. Michael Joyce has beaten Marc Rosset, the 11th seed, 6-4, 6-1. Joyce has had a really good couple of weeks. Here's Edberg, start of the second set. Well, all he's got to do is get his serve in somewhere on the Boetsch backhand, and he wins the point.
Yes, that's about it. I think in the first set he only lost 5 points on his serve, and that's serving at 38%. So the story is that Boetsch isn't making too many telling returns. Because he's not much of a steerer of the ball, Boetsch. He's not a flat hitter. Is in somehow with the very contemplative nature that Edberg's approaching these 2 matches. It might, of course, have something to do with the wrist.
There's a classic Edberg point.
But it was out.
Ooh.
It's getting to him.
There's 2 doubles, and now the first break point. Oh!
Yes, calling for the towel, I think. Slightly unusual volley this. It was played with a much shorter swing than usual. As if he'd made up his mind yesterday that he was going to play it cross court.
And you said through that the 7th game I suppose when you're 30 you take a little bit longer to get the brakes on. The brake pads have worn a little thin.
Yes, and also it
would be fairly vital. France doing fairly well in football at the moment, aren't they? 3 sides through to European semi-finals. What's going on? And this is the first deuce game of the match.
Boetsch looking up again.